name 334 of Vishnu Sahasranama is one of the best known and most important names. Of course, we can't say that any name is unimportant, but certain names, they refer to defining characteristics of the personality of Godhead. For instance, there are names which say that there are names which describe some of his qualities, such as being powerful. Or there are other names which describe other qualities, such as being sweet in nature. So, other living beings may also be powerful or sweet in nature or have various such qualities, although they don't have that quality to the same extent as does the personality of Godhead. But there are certain qualities which only he has. So this name is Vasudeva, which means he who is, well, one of the meanings is that he's all-pervading. So that is not a quality of the infinitesimal jiva soul. And another meaning, of course, is that he's the son of Vasudeva. Vasu, that's derived from the word vas, which means to reside. And it also means to envelop, which means just to cover. So his vasa is everywhere, and his residence is everywhere, his existence is everywhere. And he covers everything. And everything resides in him. Because he lives within the world, it is possible for others to live within the world. And his covering can be considered, apart from a general sense of covering everything, just like the mother covers, the mother bird covers her little chicks and protects them. And he is devah. This word devah, that generally means understood to mean God or godly, but it also means one who is effulgent. We have the similar word divya, divine. Then devah also gives the sense that he engages in various sporting activities. By this I mean his pastimes. Pastimes is the and that he desires to conquer. So these meanings are brought together in that you were chanting the Brahma Samhita earlier. His playing and conquering, these desires to play and to conquer, they coalesce. Dilayatena bhuvanani jayatyajasram. He conquers all the worlds by his glorious pastimes. Ananda chinmaya rasat mataya manasu yah praninang patipalan smaratam upetya lilayatena bhuvanani jayatyajasram govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. His conquering is by bliss, his blissful pastimes, which is recalled in the minds of the devotees, is reflected in their heart. So Krishna conquers and controls the universe, but it's all his play. Which means that we can't even imagine the greatness of Krishna. Just like now, at the present time, there's tension between the United States of America and Russia over Ukraine. And it's definitely not a game. It's not playing. It's a very serious matter. So for Krishna, of course, also very serious, but for him, it's a game in the sense that there's no question of any rivalry with him. No one is equal to him. No one near equal to him. Sometimes he takes on the mood of being equal or almost equal with others. There's some great demon like Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashipu. He fights with them as if they're almost on the same level. Or playing in the forest in Vrindavan, sometimes he's defeated in mock wrestling matches with his cowherd boyfriend. But actually, there's no one comes even close to him in power and might and glory. But his greatest glory is that he makes himself available to his devotees. And even though he is so much immeasurably greater than others, aprameya, that is another of his names, aprameya, immeasurable, but he makes himself available to them. So all his acts are simply for pleasure, all lila. And many quotations are given here, Shastric quotations, in which the name Vasudeva is directly mentioned, or it's derived from various. Now Bhagavan is everywhere. He pervades everything. There is nothing outside the existence of He. He controls everything directly and indirectly. But at the same time, He expertly conceals Himself from everyone except His devotees. So all these names, they're all interconnected, all the names of Vishnu Sahasranama. Another of His names then is Guhya, He's hidden. He's everywhere, but He's hidden. The atheist will challenge that, well, you say God is everywhere, but we don't see Him anywhere. And by that challenging attitude, they never will see Him anywhere. But the devotee sees Krishna everywhere. Primanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shyama sundarama chintya guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Devotee sees Krishna everywhere, sees Krishna in his heart, because his eyes are tinged with the ointment of love. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvang chamai pashyati tasyahang na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I am never lost to him and he is never lost to me. Another important point is that he is dwelling in everything, everything is within him, but he is not affected by anything. He maintains his total independence and his simultaneous dependence upon his devotees. So he is a mysterious person, certainly. In the Sri Sampradaya, the commentator points out that this name, like Vasudeva, like the name Narayana, is of such importance, and it's so pregnant with meaning, and it's so esoteric, and it should be, the meaning should not be put in writing, but it has to be learned from an acharya. Otherwise, many books could be written on this one name. Just like in the Sri Sampradaya, there is one famous acharya, Vedanta Deshika. So he was asked to speak something or compose something in praise of the Lord's lotus feet. But he thought, no, that topic is too elevated for me. I will praise His shoes. And he wrote 1,000 verses in praise of the Lord's shoes. Name 335 is Brhad Bhanuh. The name Bhanuh has already been discussed. It's already come up in Vishnu Sahasranama. So this name is Brhad Bhanuh, which means great Bhanuh. Bhanu is a well-known name of the sun. Just like one name of Yamuna is Bhanu Tanaya, means the daughter of the sun. Okay. Bhanuh Tanya Mataji is from... She's also here. I gave that name too. There's Vrishabhanu, that's another name. There's Vrishabhanu Tanya means Radha. Bhanuh Tanya means Yamuna. So, anyway, that just emphasizes the quality of Bhanu, which means radiant. Just like Vishnu is sometimes called Mahavishnu. Of course, in our Gauriya Sampradaya, we usually say Mahavishnu means Karanadakshay Vishnu, the very biggest form. But in other Sampradayas, especially in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they may use the words Vishnu, Mahavishnu interchangeably. So Brihad Bhanu means he who is of profuse luster, which is, again, it's similar to Vasudeva. That one of the principal meanings of the name Vasudeva. That, of course, that very important meaning, the son of Vasudeva. I didn't discuss that. I should go back to that, yeah. That is a great mystery, how he is all-pervading, yet he is the son of a particular person. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states that a great a Jnani after many, many lifetimes may come to understand that Vasudeva is everything. So that might seem to be a tautology, which means that you just say something which is, it doesn't really mean anything, because Vasudeva means he is everything anyway. But because Vasudeva means who is everywhere, so what does it mean to say Vasudeva is everywhere? It's just something like saying all cows are cow-like. It doesn't really inform us anything. But then if we understand that Vasudeva also means the son of Vasudeva and is a particular person, as well as being all-pervading, well, that's quite a realization. Because as far as we understand, a person is located in a particular place. It is not all-pervaded. In grammar, one of the cases is locative, which means if you refer to Krishna, within Krishna, or so that means Krishna is in a particular place. So how can the two things be there? All-pervading and in a particular place. Well, that's Krishna. Goloka eva nivasatya khila atma bhuto. He resides in Golok, and he's within the heart of every living being. That's why it takes the Gyanis many, many lifetimes to understand this. Because it's not understandable by ordinary knowledge. It's beyond logic. So, Krishna, that he is the son of Vasudeva is a great mystery. That he is unborn, but he is born. Kechid ahur ajang jatam. Kunti Devi says some people try to work out different reasons why the unborn becomes born. Yeah, that's from Kunti Stotra. So the name Brihad Bhanu means who's of profuse luster, his rays spread everywhere. He illumines everything by the sun in the day and by the moon at night. Prabhasmi shashi shurya yoho. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the light of the sun and the moon. He also illumines in the sense of he gives, by knowledge he illuminates. What is that verse? Yeah. Tadaditya. What is that verse from Bhagavad Gita? That Aditya. Tesham Aditya Vajjnanam. Jnanena tutarajnanam yesham nashitam atmanaha tesham aditya vajjnanam prakashyati tatparam. Krishna says that when one becomes enlightened, illumined by knowledge, then that knowledge lights up everything. You can see everything, just as when the sun rises, you can see everything. Ajnana tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam. The ignorance by which one becomes anatma, he becomes devoid of the sense of understanding his spiritual identity. That ignorance is destroyed by the rising in the heart of the sun of knowledge. So Krishna is that light of knowledge. Tesham evanukam partamaham jnana jangtamaha nashyami amabhavas jnana dipena bhasvata. Yes, he says that to his devotees, being very compassionate to his devotees, he destroys with the light of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So he is very bright, and he is the effulgent son of SON of Vasudeva. He's so bright that the gopis, they hide away their yogurt and butter so he can't find it. They put it in a dark storeroom, but he goes in, and by his bodily luster, everything becomes bright, so he can find it very easily. The sun is so bright that we cannot look at the sun even for a second. But Krishna gives light to the sun. So how bright is Krishna? And how dull are we without Krishna? Our name 336 is Adi Deva, which means that among all devas, all godly beings, all bright, effulgent beings, Krishna is the first and he is the foremost. Deva means devotee or demigod. It means also bright, effulgent. Devotees are bright. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one becomes bright. Whereas materialistic people, they are dull. Sometimes we see someone takes to Krishna consciousness and they become very bright. Practically you can't recognize, because they before they look very dull and dark and depressed. But after taking to Krishna consciousness, they become bright and effulgent. Their aura becomes effulgent, and everyone can notice. But then again, we see someone if they go away from Krishna consciousness again, they become dark and dull in countenance. And practically you can't recognize them, even though the facial features are the same, but they look all black-faced. When someone takes to Krishna consciousness, they become very bright. And when one again desires sense gratification, then it becomes overcome by the lower modes of nature. And even someone may be very nicely dressed and with eau de cologne and all nicely shaved, and they go to the beauty salon for men or women or whatever, but they still look terrible. Their face and their whole being just emanates their low consciousness. Whereas the devotee, he may be just dressed very simply or even not very neatly, but is shining brilliantly. That brilliance is reflecting the brilliance of Krishna. Krishna's Adi Deva means that he likes to be with the demigods or the saintly people. So among them all, he is the foremost. In Bhagavad Gita, he states, Aham Adir Hi Devanam. I am the first. I am the origin of all the demigods. And then just a few verses after that, Arjuna praises Krishna in various ways. And one of the terms he uses is Adi Deva. You are the origin of all the demigods. It also means that he's the foremost. Now, Krishna is the origin of everything and everyone. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mata sarvam pravartate. But as his pastime, as his joyous pastime, he appears at certain specific chronological times within the history of the universe. So, one of his appearances is as Vaman avatar. Another famous name of whom is Upendra, which one of the meanings of which is that he appeared after Indra. He's the younger brother of Indra. So Indra should be superior to him. Indra is before him. The Vaman should offer respect to Indra. But then again, we find young Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra Maruta, Stundanti Divyai Stavai. The Devas, they offer they offer divine praises. So the principal demigods are mentioned here: Brahma, Shiva, and all the Rudras. And Brahma, Rudra, the Maruts, Indra, Brahma, Varunendra, Varuna, and so. Even though he appears in his pastimes to be junior to Indra, actually, which means that there are demigods superior to him, the very name Indra means the superior. Now, Indra in the heavenly planets, has that title. It's a borrowed title from Krishna. Because the real Indra is Krishna. So, a deva means one who... There are so many meanings of each word. So, deva means one who gives profusely, one who shines and makes others shine. Although that's considered to be a relatively recent scientific discovery that the moon reflects the light of the sun. That's already understood in Vedic astronomy, that the sun makes the moon shine. One who dwells in space, so the demigods, they reside in the higher planets. The demigods, they give profusely. Therefore people approach demigods for worldly boons. But the foremost among them is Krishna. And actually whatever the demigods give is only because Krishna allows them to. So in all respects, Krishna is Adi Deva, the primary source of everything. The primary source of all the qualities which make someone a Deva. Just like we say Guru Deva. The Guru is considered godly. But another name for Krishna is Deva, who is godly. So we say Guru Dev, Bhudev, which means Brahmana, like gods on earth. Naradev, which means a Kshatriya, a king. He's godly among the men. But Krishna is Adidev, that godliness he imbues into other. He is the original source of all godliness. And others may be considered godly because of their relationship with him. A king is called Naradev if he actually acts as a representative of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise he's just like a Rakshasa. Rakshasin Kalima Ashritya. No, that's another one. This Prajaste Bhakshayashanti Mlecha Rajanya Rupina. In Kali Yuga, the the so-called kings, they're actually Rakshasas who don't protect the citizens, they just do the opposite, they exploit them. Similarly, the Brahmanas, they're supposed to be worshipped like gods on earth, but they may also be just like Rakshasas. Rakshasim kalim ashricha jayante brahma yonishu. In the Varaha Purana it's stated that in Kali Yuga many Rakshasas will enter the wombs of, be born as supposed Brahmanas. So Adi Deva means who is the foremost of those who are actually godly, not those who are posing as godly to cheat others. So it's very important to understand all these points in detail. And therefore Srila Prabhupada, he discussed these points in detail again and again and again. But at this point I'm going to stop because I suppose we have some prasadam to distribute. Oh, they're not here. Okay, well we'll do that tomorrow then. And okay, so we'll distribute that and then we can have arati. I mentioned to Sankirtan Guru Prabhu that despite all his valiant efforts to get things on time, it was the usual space out today. He comforted me, or attempted to do so, by assuring me that this is normal, not just at this festival, but at most ISKCON festivals, at least in Russia. So, if the program doesn't go on schedule by some very rare chance, then you can all just come in and chant Hare Krishna together. The lectures might become a bit shorter than they're supposed to be.